Welcome viewers to a brand new episode of Insight. Apologies for the technical issues we faced just now, but now we are rolling, we've got the show going. Subject matter जो आज हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं वो है कि will Pakistan and India relationships will ever improve? ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है और हम सबसे बहुत करीब जुड़ा हुआ है। इस वक्त स्टूडियोज़ में हमारे साथ एक बहुत अच्छी पैनल मौजूद है जो कि पाकिस्तान और इंडिया के रिलेशनशिप को काफ़ी अरसे से ऑब्जर्व भी कर रहे हैं और उसको इन्फ्लुएंस भी कर पा रहे हैं। ये वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने बेसिकली बैकग्राउंड में रहते हुए और सामने रहते हुए दोनों कंट्रीज़ को करीब लाने की कोशिश की है। इंट्रोड्यूस फर्स्ट ताहिर अजीज़ फ्रॉम कंसिलिएशन रिसोर्सेज, डायरेक्टर इन साउथ एशिया प्रोग्राम के, it's a major charity which think tank which looks into creating conciliation into different world conflicts. उसके बाद हमारे साथ हैं एम्बेसडर वाजिद शमसुद्दीन, थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग एट द शो सर, एंड हाई कमिश्नर रह चुके हैं पाकिस्तान के फॉर यूके, एंड वाजिद साहब would sort of be discussing how he has seen things evolving over the number of years जब से वो इन्वॉल्व हैं पॉलिटिक्स में एंड डिप्लोमेसी में. Then we are fortunate to have Sharad Parekh. Thank you very much for coming at the show, Sharad.
Pleasure to be here.
Sharad represents the National Congress of Gujarati Organization, UK, and he is an active member and sort of involved in community action across the board. तो उनके पास बहुत अच्छा व्यू है कि how people think about Pakistan, India, what are the issues, how we can move forward. So welcome everybody to the show. The first question, Ambassador Wajid साहब, tell me what happened जब हम जिक्र करते हैं 1984 का. There was a bit of honeymoon period, if I were to say that, जब Benazir and Rajiv Gandhi were very kind of committed to the peace process to go on. तो कुछ जरा आप हमें counters of that peace process समझाएंगे और क्या what was the outcome of that?
I'll go a little back.
Okay, good.
To 1972, when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, Prime President then Pakistan, he went to India and met Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and they got together to sign the Simla Agreement. And if you look at Simla Agreement in 1972, it was signed in July, 1st of July, 2nd July. You have not had a war between India and Pakistan. So that was the biggest achievement of that Simla Agreement. And after that, things were improving. Usually, the seasonal cross-firing on the LOC used to take place, but not to that serious extent which we saw in Musharraf's days or earlier, a standoff between India and Pakistan. But in 1987, when India, they had elections in Kashmir, and otherwise they were going very well, the elections were rigged. When we started, first time, the movement became very indigenous.
Which is the Kashmir
movement,
okay.
Yeah. For rights of self-determination or independence or joining with India or Pakistan, whatever you can say. But later on, because of this 87 fiasco in the elections, otherwise I think India was getting control of Kashmir very wisely and through electoral process.
Say.
And subsequently, the indigenous movement started this, what we call Intifada of Kashmir. Then, unfortunately, a cross-border intervention started, which was, Benazir Bhutto was opposed to it because Benazir Bhutto used to say at the time that if you have this sort of interference from outside, it will not remain a local Indian-Pakistani issue or the Kashmiri issue. It will become, people will say, Indians will say that this is an externally motivated movement. It has no legitimacy within India. However, things have started moving in the right direction, and you have seen in Muslim Nawaz Sharif, Benazir Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto and Rajiv Gandhi met each other in 1989.
Yeah, 89, yes.
89, when both of them had gone to, I think Benazir had gone to United States and Rajiv Gandhi had gone to Paris, and then on their return they met here in Islamabad. it had a very good start because they signed various specs about, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Roy. We had a lot of starts and stops in the history. I think that is where
the Aftab I called it snake and ladder.
Snake and ladder.
Yeah, it has been like that.
I think that's
you go up and down, you go up and down.
I think we have to have a consistent, dialogue is important and a consistent sort of focus of where we want to take the two nations. So that's coming to you in terms of your understanding of how things are moving. And Gujarat is a very important province now, basically, being the Modi's home province, basically. How do you think, the current status is a bit of quagmire between India and Pakistan? Do you see it sort of, give me some indication, some hope. What should happen?
I'm very, very hopeful. I believe that Gujarat, particularly, is a very progressive state. It is looking to build bridges and make friendship with neighbors. The feeling is, if you go back far enough in history, before 1947, we all lived as one. We had no problems. We never felt any friction between the two communities because we were all just one. And it's unfortunate that after the partitioning, these problems started coming. And I personally believe that with the right understanding, with the right education, we can come back to those. And I feel, more than anything else, that your neighbor is the most important person in the whole community.
And who do you think the education is needed? Is it the political establishment of the countries, or is it sort of, other factors? What do you think?
So this education has to come, I believe, from the individuals. It is, the politicians do know, but then that's politics. And there are self-motivated interests that holds back the
process of negotiation and the process of sort of coming to a bit of resolution where all the parties think they got something. Coming to you, Tahir, conciliation resources have got quite a wide footprint. You guys are involved in Colombia. You guys are involved in many other parts of the world. What do you think is the challenge for Pakistan and Indian issue, basically? Why these two countries could not have a better relationship? Kashmir, we know, is one, but what do you think is behind that, basically?
It is a very difficult question to answer because it's been a long history, 70 years, and unfortunately we're still waiting for that elusive peace between these two nation states. There have been occasions, like Wajid Saab said, and there are good sentiments and very good thinking that also exists on both sides. A lot of efforts have been made officially as well as unofficially, but we're still not where we could say that they have achieved something significant. So a lot of history, baggage, competitive narratives, and then in the current stage you can multiply the issues that were there in 1947. That's what happens in protracted, unsettled conflicts. You start from somewhere else and you end up, if you don't resolve them, you unfortunately
things move on.
And
the new dimensions coming in, new players coming in, and I think so. You don't. What you mean to say is that we can't leave this festering. Basically, we need to address the issue.
I think that is very true. It's in the interest of everybody within that region. India, Pakistan, Kashmiris, and world at large. I think no matter whatever, the bad circumstances have happened, and we still see massive challenges in that way. But I think at the end of the day, we'll have to have a vision for peace and bridge building, like Wajid Saab said.
Yeah.
Because you cannot have a vision of breaking the bridges or not having the peace. And the fact that peace is possible and it has been possible elsewhere, should give us courage and faith that it is also possible between these two countries.
No, I think that gives us a good of sort of hope to build on. Viewers, we'll go to Delhi now. Earlier, I spoke to Air Vice Marshal retired Kapil regarding the Kashmir issue and what is the situation and the line of control, how it could be de-escalated. So we'll hear what Kapil had to say about it.
देखिए जो नियंत्रण रेखा पे उल्लंघन होता है तो इसको अगर हम सामान्य स्थिति में लाना चाहते हैं ये दुतरफी दोनों साइड से इसका बायलैटरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ही हो सकता है थर्ड पार्टी की कोई जरूरत नहीं है और जैसे शिमला एग्रीमेंट में भी कहा है कि जो जम्मू और कश्मीर का मसला वो मसला ये भी है कि जो क्रॉस एलओसी फायरिंग होती है ये सिर्फ बायलैटरली इसका हल होगा तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कोई आवश्यकता है तीसरी पार्टी की देखिए पहले तो हमारे जो द्विपक्ष रिश्ते हैं द्विपक्ष रिलेशंस हैं इनको एक स्थिरता लानी है और स्थिरता के बाद एक तरीके की एक सेम्बलेंस लानी है सामान्य स्थिति की नॉर्मलसी की उसके बाद फुल नॉर्मलसी और उसके बाद एक तरीके की शांति लाई जा सकती है इस पे काफी ये स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस है दोनों तरफ से एक सिंसेरिटी होनी चाहिए एक तरीके का ऑब्जेक्टिव होना चाहिए कि रिलेशंस बिल्कुल सामान्य हैं मगर हमारी मुश्किल ये है कि नियंत्रण रेखा और बॉर्डर के उस पार अगर भारत के दृष्टिकोण से देखा जाते हैं तो जो आगे बढ़ते हैं उस पर कोई खलल नहीं है उनकी तरफ से जो कोई भी कठिनाइयां आती हैं वो रावलपिंडी से आते हैं आप जानते हैं रावलपिंडी में पाकिस्तान थर्ड सेना का GHQ है वही भी ISI का हेडक्वार्टर्स भी है वहीं से कठिनाइयां आई हैं अभी तक आप जानते हैं प्रधानमंत्री क्रिसमस की टाइम पे नवाज शरीफ के घर गए थे बिन बुलाए उनकी ग्रैंड डॉटर की वेडिंग के लिए गए थे उनके सालगिरह पे गए थे और उसके कुछ एक हफ्ते के बाद पठानकोट हुआ पठानकोट के बाद इतने बाकी हादसे हुए हैं और उसके बाद उरी के बाद तो सारी दुनिया जानती है उसके बाद इस तरफ से एक बहुत ही कठिन कठोर कार्रवाई की आवश्यकता पड़ी जो हुई है मगर सामान्य होने की और शांति की बहुत ही आवश्यकता है कि दक्षिणी एशिया इस वक्त सारे विश्व में एक एरिया है जिसमें इतना पोटेंशियल है और उसको हम कामयाब नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि हमारी कुछ आइडियोलॉजिकल बैगेजेस हैं हमारे कुछ राजनीतिक बैगेजेस हैं उनको हम दूर नहीं कर सकते अपने जहन से वो जरूरत है बहुत कुछ राजनीतिक मामलों में पोलराइजेशन क्या है रेडिकलाइजेशन क्या है इस मुद्दे को कश्मीर के मुद्दे के साथ जोड़ना मेरे ख्याल में उचित नहीं है क्योंकि देखिए वाजपेयी भी बीजेपी की सरकार थी उस वक्त भी थोड़ा सा पोलराइजेशन हुआ था मगर इरादा नेक था वाजपेयी आगे बढ़े आपको श्रोताओं को याद होगा 2002 सारा साल मोबिलाइजेशन जंगी संघर्ष जारी था सारे ट्रूप्स हैं माइनिंग की गई युद्ध होने वाला था और युद्ध से हम कैसे दूर पड़े क्योंकि उस कुछ महीनों के बाद वाजपेयी ने श्रीनगर में कश्मीरियों के सामने भाषण देते हुए कहा हम अपने पड़ोसी के साथ हाथ मिलाना चाहते हैं दोस्ती बढ़ाना चाहते हैं और आप जानते हैं श्रोता जानते हैं 2003 से 2010 तक 7-8 साल तो स्थिति काफी सामान्य रही उसके बाद ये बिहेडिंग्स वगैरह ट्रांसग्रेशन शुरू हो गए और LOC फायरिंग होती रही तो उससे हालत बिगड़ गए पर ये भी श्रोताओं को जानने की बहुत ही आवश्यकता है इस एक तनावपूर्वक स्थिति के बावजूद जो फायरिंग होती है तोपों की फायरिंग नहीं है आर्टिलरी का कोई इस्तेमाल नहीं होता है लाइट मशीन गन्स असॉल्ट राइफल्स मोटर्स इनका इस्तेमाल होता है हाँ इनसे भी डैमेज होता है मतलब एक तरीके की रिस्ट्रेंट दोनों साइड से है किसी न किसी तरह से भारत को पाकिस्तान के साथ बात करने की आवश्यकता होगी वो होगी बात वो कैसे होगी कब होगी इसमें सबसे ज्यादा जो प्रश्न उठता है कि वहां से ये सीमा पार आतंकवाद क्या उसकी कमी लाई जाएगी और क्या उसको हटाया जाएगा तो अगर ये होता है तो भारत और पाकिस्तान के रिश्ते जो दक्षिणी एशिया के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण महत्व रखता है, तो उससे हम एक तरीके की स्थिरता ला सकते हैं।
So, welcome viewers back to the studios. So you heard what Kapil Kak was saying. I think the issue is कि line of control के ऊपर de-escalation होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And I think जो इस वक्त situation है वो वैसी कभी पहले रही नहीं. जो अब देख रहे हैं कि हज़ारों basically इस वक्त violations हो रही हैं दोनों तरफ से. तो I think we need to sort of उस चीज़ को रोकने की बहुत ज़रूरत है. दोनों governments को ये चीज़ समझना चाहिए कि we need to stop and start sort of process which is a little bit more I would say हेल्पफुल और जिसके ऊपर हम बिल्ड कर सकते हैं सस्टेनेबल हो. ताहिर, ये जो अभी मोदी जी ने नई अनाउंसमेंट की है दानिश्वर शर्मा एज द एनवॉय फॉर कश्मीर, हाउ डू यू थिंक दैट वुड हेल्प बेसिकली, बिकॉज आई थिंक वी वांट टू हैव सम पॉजिटिव थिंग्स वेयर वी कैन स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग समथिंग. उसके बारे में आपका क्या ख्याल है?
I think it's a very good start. Of course, there is still some sort of concern from Kashmiri leaders, and also Pakistan has also not showed its cards, but something has moved, and it's in that context. For the past 8-9 years, you have seen no such possibility, and everybody across the board who has been supportive of a peace process between India and Pakistan, and a peace process over Kashmir, and a peace process between Kashmiris and India, has been arguing that there should be a resumption of dialogue process. So it is a step forward, and they have announced an interlocutor who is mandated to talk to Kashmiris, and more or less the language shows that there is restraint in terms of declaring any conditions. And so far the response has also been like that you can call it a constructive one, a positive one.
Positive, yeah.
So it is still very initial. You have to wait and see how things unfold, and unfortunately our history is full of accidents, and you cannot unfortunately predict in the long run, but it is a good step, and I think if it takes sort of its own momentum, things can move in a positive direction.
I think जो अभी ताहिर ने कहा, I think इशू ये है कि इस वक्त जो नए इंटरलोकेटर जो अनाउंस हुए हैं उनको जनरली लोगों ने ज़रा पॉजिटिव ही लिया है. किसी भी तरफ से उनके लिए एक नेगेटिव रिस्पांस नहीं आया. I think we can take non-negative in this situation as positive. So viewers, stay with us. We'll be back with you after a short break. Welcome back, viewers. We are fortunate to have Mr. Vijay Mehta join us. Mr. Vijay Mehta is the chairman of the Uniting for Peace charity, and he undertakes work in different areas of sort of developing more common understanding between different communities. My question now, coming back to Sharad, is that there seems to be that it's been reported quite widely. There's a rise of sort of fundamentalism within India, and आपका क्या ख्याल है कि जो fundamentalism बढ़ रहा है उससे क्या पीस प्रोसेस के ऊपर असर पड़ेगा? और बाकी काफ़ी दफ़ा हमने देखा है कि मीडिया में जो वॉर मॉन्गरिंग है वो बढ़ रही है, एंड उस डिमांड को पूरी करने के लिए पॉलिसीज चेंज हो रही हैं. आप क्या कहेंगे?
ठीक बात है. There is a definite change in the temperature, and extremism that India has suffered in the past has infuriated a section of the public. Having said that, I think the question is, where do we want to go to? And I believe that it's in everyone's interest to move on. We have got history which we are bogged down with, and we have to break away from those preset, determined notions. And I think that with the right will, we can move on and forget about the problems that shine.
Yeah.
Those shine out more than anything else. But I believe wrongs have been done. There are countries that have experienced wars, England and France and Germany, but we have moved on, and I do not see why we should not be able to hold hands together. It will be great for the economy, it will be great for visa, and be great for tourism, and I believe it's in everyone's interest. We are at the end, we share the same
piece of earth, basically, and what the thing is that Pakistan cannot be moved to New Zealand, neither India could be moved to Atlantic. So we have to live, and we have to learn how to live together. Vijay, what do you think? This rise of temperature, does it impact the policies of the government? Does does government influence the media, or is the media which is influencing the policies?
I think they are in cahoot with each other. The leaders, the elites of the country, and the media. And I think if we try to take the root causes of the problem is the military wants more money to buy weapons. And last year, according to SIPRI, the Stockholm Institute of Peace and Research, India spent 56 billion on weapons. A country like India with 500 million people not having enough food or literacy or anything, should we be spending 56 billion on, and we are the first largest importer in the world on weapons. And Pakistan is about the same. It's 10 billion they have spent on military, and they're the fifth biggest importer of weapons in the world. So should we be just having a race for militarization and warmongering? Because what it happens when you got more weapons? The generals and even the army want some action.
No, I definitely agree that those toys get used basically.
Yeah.
So that and
So
those toys create a lot of trouble for the.
Yeah.
We've got a caller on with us at the moment. Yes, Mr. Shah, go ahead with your question.
Well, basically, my question is regarding Prime Minister Modi's statement, जो कि उन्होंने चिदम्बरम एक्स फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर के बारे में दिया था. अगर इस तरह के स्टेटमेंट जो है वो वजीर आजम इनके यानी जो है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर देंगे, तो फिर किस तरह से हम जो है वो आगे जाने की सोच सकते हैं? क्योंकि सबसे पहले जो है इस सब में जो है वो सब्र और जो है वो अपनी इस तरह की चीजें रखनी है कि दूसरे को वो बुरा ना लगे. इस तरह की स्टेटमेंट के गद्दार कह देना किसी को एकदम से, यही तरह की स्टेटमेंट पाकिस्तान से भी आते हैं, यही तरह के इंडिया से भी आते हैं. सबसे बड़ा जो इशू है हमारे दोनों कंट्रीज में वो यही है कि जो है सब्र नहीं है दोनों में. अच्छा, दूसरा मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि ना सिर्फ इंडिया और पाकिस्तान, व्हाट डू यू पीपल थिंक कि इसमें जो है वो ब्रिटिशर्स का कितना हाथ है कि इंडिया और पाकिस्तान मिल के नहीं बैठ पा रहे?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Shah, for joining us for the program. मुश्किल सवाल सर.
जी फरमाइए.
India और पाकिस्तान मिलकर नहीं बैठ पा रहे because of British influence. And I'll bring this question to you for the situation regarding the recent statement of the Congress Foreign Minister, Finance Minister, and the reaction by Mr. Modi. सर ये बताएं कि क्या British का influence रहा है दोनों जगह पे?
British का influence क्योंकि British left this Kashmir issue is
The bad legacy.
bad legacy, unfinished agenda of partition, and Labour Party in 1995 said that we would like to, because it's our legacy, we would like to resolve it. After that, the main problem between India and Pakistan is trust deficit.
Yes.
When you have trust, you get similar agreement. When you have trust, Benazir Bhutto and Rajiv Gandhi decide about cession. When you have trust, Vajpayee travels from India on a bus to Lahore. When you have trust, President Zardari offers wide-ranging concessions, visa relaxation. In 2008, Mumbai happens. Narendra Modi comes to Pakistan and in 2014 or 15, you get Mumbai.
Pathankot.
Then you have, when you have something there, something here happens in Balochistan or NWF, KPK. All these things are because there is lack of trust. Unless we have trust between each other, leadership, and as Mr. Vijay Vedanta said it rightly, their vested interest, the two armies, they got their own interest, and some say that it's their bread and Kashmir is their bread and butter.
So, sir, lack of trust is like what? They agree something and they don't deliver, or is it the two politicians or the head of states basically? They don't deliver to each other, or they are not in control of their own governments. What do you mean to say?
I think they're not in control of their affairs in the sense that they want to do something, that something happens on the other hand, which is what is impedimenting, it's a resolution of Kashmir. Otherwise, if they talk and the dialogue continues, is resumed, things will change gradually. They will not change overnight, but they will change gradually, and you will see that we will move in the right direction. Fundamentally, I remember in 1989, Benazir Bhutto as Prime Minister of Pakistan went to China, and she met the Prime Minister, and Deng Xiaoping was the chairman at the time. And the Prime Minister knew, which I'm forgetting his name, he said that this is not the age of warmongering. We must trade. We have got a border issue with India, but we are building our trade with India.
So that's where the trust deficit has to be developed and nurtured, basically.
Let me tell you, the trust deficit is there, definitely is a big factor. But if you see that in the worst possible conditions, Samjhauta Express has continued. Even recently, Samjhauta are not disrupted. Trade, directly or indirectly, had continued between two Kashmirs as well as with Pakistan. So we have to build on these lines.
Okay.
Kashmir issue will remain for some time. It is not going to be resolved overnight. It will remain for some time. We know it, that we cannot take it by force. India knows it, that it can't deliver it in peace. So we have to have a trust developed between two. All these, whatever developments have taken because a trust was there. Simla was on account of a trust that they both Indira Gandhi and Bhutto Sahab created. Trust was the factor. You can imagine that a vanquished nation, leader of a vanquished nation, gets respect and an honorable agreement. That is what is needed for resolving the Kashmir issue. That you have to talk. Without talking, you can't really.
I think
by force you can't. By military.
Yeah, I think you're correct. But the thing is that when we cannot talk about Kashmir, how we can move forward? Tahir, what do you think is needed in this kind of situation where Kashmir is not even on the agenda for both the governments? Is there a possibility that Kashmir becomes part of a composite dialogue? A new dialogue should be initiated between the two countries. आप क्या समझते हैं इसके बारे में?
Well, let's hope so, because in the if history is a lesson, we have learned that it hasn't worked without Kashmir either. So, but it is very complicated and very complex, and we have to understand that both countries have been in different situations, have gone closer, almost as close to signing a peace agreement, reportedly, by the interlocutors who were involved at that point officially, but also gone to wars and more on the issue of Kashmir three times. So Kashmir is an issue that needs to be made part of the peace process. Let's hope that that happens at some point.
We've got a caller, Doris online. Doris, what's your question? Fire away.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, जब पाकिस्तान बाहर नहीं आएगा, मारने से, कश्मीरी लोगों को मारने से मसला हल नहीं होगा। पहले पाकिस्तानियों को चाहिए अपने जो टेररिस्ट हैं उन्हें काबू में करें,
ठीक है,
ताकि इसका मसला हल हो सके। जब इनके टेररिस्ट इनके काबू में नहीं है तो कैसे होगा? वो टेररिस्ट तो किसी का नहीं होता है, वो तो पाकिस्तानी को भी मारेगा, किसी को भी मारेगा, उसे तो पैसे से मतलब है।
फाइन डोरिस, वी गॉट योर क्वेश्चन। शुक्रिया सवाल का और शुक्रिया प्रोग्राम पे आने का। विजय, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, आपका क्या ख्याल है, ये जो इशू है क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म का, वो किस तरह रिजॉल्व हो सकता है? बिकॉज ये इम्पैक्ट इसका दोनों तरफ आ रहा है। जैसे अभी भाई साहब ने कहा कि बलूचिस्तान का जिक्र किया, KPK का जिक्र किया, डोरिस ने कश्मीर का जिक्र किया, क्या ये बबल क्या कर रही है ये चीज़?
I think terrorism is the biggest invention we have in this world. Because of the absence of a third world war or absence of the terrorism is creating fear in the community, which gives
तो खौफ लेकर आ रहा है ये कम्युनिटी के अंदर।
community, and the streets of Delhi are not safe or streets of Karachi are not safe. So what we need to do, bring more military, more police, more armaments. So as long as you understand that is not a solution to it. Solution is to tackle the root causes of terrorism, which can be poverty, marginalization of communities, and things like that, and be open of what terrorism is about. Yeah. So then there is a time we can tackle terrorism with the root causes.
आपका कहने का मकसद है जो रूट कॉज है टेररिज्म की, जो कि टेररिज्म को बेसिकली प्रमोट करती है, उस रूट कॉज को एड्रेस करने की ज़रूरत है। उसके साथ साथ अगर रूट कॉज डिस्कस होती है और वो रूट कॉज किसी ना किसी तरीके से थोड़ी सी मिनिमाइज़ हो जाती है, तो उससे फिर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी बढ़ती है, उससे पीस आता है, और वो जो पीस है वो आगे चल के ट्रेड बढ़ाता है, और उस ट्रेड की वजह से आपका जो ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट है वो बेसिकली कम होता है, और आपके जो बाहमी एक दूसरे के साथ एतमाद जो है वो बढ़ता है, और आप बेहतर स्टेप ले सकते हैं। तो आप छोटे बेबी स्टेप से शुरू करते हैं, लेकिन देन आप उसके बाद आगे बड़े स्टेप भी ले सकते हैं। व्यूअर्स, स्टे विद अस, विल बी बैक। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक एंड वील हैव मोर व्यूज ऑन दिस इशू। Welcome back, viewers. We're going to speak to now Pakistan's former foreign minister, Mr. Khurshid Qusuri, and my question with him was that what happened after 1984 when there was a possibility of some kind of resolution. So let's hear what he has to say.
तो इसलिए दुनिया में ये कोई कभी ये नहीं हुआ कि हालात अच्छे हो तो बातचीत होती है, बुरे हालात में और ज्यादा जरूरत हो जाती है। तो ये आर्गुमेंट मैं बाय नहीं करता कि क्योंकि हालात ठीक नहीं। और आर्गुमेंट क्या होती है कि जी ये देखें जी पाकिस्तान ने ये किया, हम कहते हैं इंडिया ने ये किया। इनफैक्ट अगर आप टीवी स्टेशन सुने इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के, और मैं दोनों सुनता हूँ क्योंकि मैं इंटरेस्टेड हूँ पाकिस्तान इंडिया पीस में, तो ऑपोजिट हो रहा है। वो कहते हैं कि सिविलियंस, पाकिस्तानी कहते हैं इंडियन में सिविलियंस मारे, इंडियन कहते हैं पाकिस्तानी सिविलियंस मारे हैं। तो ये, और वो कहते हैं इन्होंने अनप्रोवोक्ड फायरिंग की है, कहते उन्होंने अनप्रोवोक्ड फायरिंग की है। तो इसमें मैं समझता हूँ एक और चीज है कि मीडिया का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकता है और होना चाहिए। अगर मीडिया आग लगाने पे तुल जाए पाकिस्तान और इंडिया में तो जंग भी करा देगा। इसलिए एक तो मीडिया का रोल इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन बुनियादी जिम्मेदारी हुकूमतों की है, दैट इज देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। और उसमें बातचीत के अलावा कोई सब्स्टिट्यूट है नहीं। अभी तक दुनिया में कोई चीज ऐसी इजाद नहीं हुई। और पाकिस्तान एंड इंडिया बिग कंट्रीज, दे शुड नॉट जस्ट बी लुकिंग के कोई बाहर से कोई मुल्क आके इनकी बातचीत कराएगा। ये ठीक है, अमेरिका ने अच्छा रोल अदा किया था व्हेन आई वाज फॉरेन मिनिस्टर हमारे टेन्योर में, और वो बैकग्राउंड में रह के भी पाकिस्तान इंडिया के पीस प्रोसेस को एनकरेज कर रहे थे। लेकिन जब हालात इतने खराब हो, जबकि रेटरिक इतनी स्ट्रांग हो कि इंडिया के इलेक्शंस में पाकिस्तान का नाम इस तरह घड़ी घड़ी लिया जाता है जैसे कोई इंडियन डोमेस्टिक इशू है, हमारे इलेक्शंस में ये नहीं लिया जाता। तो इसका मतलब है कि तलखी बढ़ रही है। और ये तलखी क्यों बढ़ रही है? इसलिए बढ़ रही है कि for some reasons political polarization seems to pay in India. हमारे इलेक्शंस में पे नहीं करती, हमारे यहाँ कोई इशू नहीं है। तो मैं ये समझता हूँ कि ये इंडियन पब्लिक ओपिनियन को भी समझना चाहिए और प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी को समझ लेना चाहिए कि पाकिस्तान के साथ अगर ताल्लुकात इतने खराब होंगे तो एक्सीडेंटली ना चाहते हुए भी मजीद खराब हो सकते हैं, जो किसी के कंट्रोल में नहीं होंगे। वो ना इंडिया के मफाद में है ना पाकिस्तान के मफाद में।
So, विजय, you heard what खुर्शीद कुसैरी ने अभी कहा, और मसला यही है कि जो इस वक्त जो रेटरिक है वो बहुत बढ़ गया है। आपको मैं यहीं से शुरू करते हैं जो लेटेस्ट एग्जांपल, उसके बाद हमारे पास मिस्टर पी चंद्रमन को इस वक्त कहा गया कि वो गद्दार हैं बिकॉज उन्होंने 370 का जिक्र किया और कहा कि उसके मुताबिक ऑटोनॉमी कश्मीर में देनी चाहिए। तो आप क्या ये समझते हैं कि ये रेटरिक जो है ये प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहा है पीस प्रोसेस के लिए?
It is creating big problems, and rhetoric should be toned down by leaders of both the countries.
तो लीडर करते क्यों नहीं है? What is the problem?
Problem is for domestic consumption, because it gives them authority or freedom to bump up their exposure in the military.
Ratings? ratings क्या
ratings or
political
the
ratings जो है वो
election.
ज़्यादा important हो गई है इस वक्त हमारे मुल्कों में?
Yeah, I mean, they are not really interested in India-Pakistan treaties or relations. They are interested to keep the job, and that's why they are having this rhetoric, especially Kashmir issues, especially props up near the election.
ये फुटबॉल बन गया election.
Yeah, it's like a football. Yeah.
ठीक है. Now we've got a caller, Vijay. Sorry to cut you because we've got a caller. He's waiting for some long. Bobby, can we have a very short question, please?
मैं बड़ा डिसअपॉइंटेड हूँ कि ये जो पाकिस्तान के एम्बेसडर या हाई कमिश्नर ने अभी बात की है, it has no sense whatsoever.
क्या बात बॉबी, अगर आप इशू की तरफ आए जल्दी से प्लीज।
इशू की तरफ ये है कि जब तक इनके बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स आर्म्स डील्स में बन रहे हैं, ये क्यों चाहेंगे कि वो हो,
ठीक है,
both countries come together because they make so much money from arms deals. And the normal people can go to hell as far as the politicians are concerned.
I think ठीक है बॉबी, got your question. Got your question because Vijay has already kind of elaborated on that कि हमारी दोनों तरफ से there is a huge kind of poverty in both the countries, and somehow or the other our defense expense seems to keep going up, and Vijay has brought some quite a sort of useful material for that, and we around the studio we agree कि ये है और पाकिस्तान का आप क्या समझते हैं भाई साहब, क्या सिचुएशन है वहाँ पे बेसिकली इस वक्त? Why would they continue to spend money on the
Their
issue?
excuse is simple: Kashmir and now terrorism as well.
As well.
So these are the factors which are compelling them to buy arms. That is what they say. But as Vijay said, that poverty is a main issue in Pakistan and India. We also have a border, below the line. I think more than nearly half of population. So all these things put together require that things should move forward. Rhetoric should tone down. Rather, it should be eliminated from the scene. Unless we do that, we cannot move forward. And dialogue is the way on way out of the.
So it's talk, no fight.
No, fight is, it's ultimately not end anywhere except in destruction of two countries. Problems of the people. Kashmiris are suffering every day. They are suffering. What for?
Yeah, they're not seeing any.
And again, as Tahir said, that let us hope this new gentleman who has been appointed as interlocutor, Daneshwar Sharma.
Yeah, Daneshwar Sharma. Yes.
Daneshwar Sharma. I hope he moves forward because this is for the first time. I think he's talking to the local leaders, Kashmiri leaders, and I believe that Kashmiri leaders should be talked and addressed to, so that the Indians and they understand some sort of come to some sort of consensus. Unless they do it, Pakistan cannot stay out of it.
I think it's a very important, and if my viewers, if you see Vajpayee years, the book by Mr. Dulat, he also says कि important चीज़ ये है कि श्रीनगर और दिल्ली में ज़्यादा बात हो, उससे बेहतरी की तवक्को हो सकती है. ताहिर, track to diplomacy in just 30 seconds बताएं कि क्या हमारी इस वक्त उसमें प्रोग्रेस है और वो हमें क्या डिलीवर कर सकती है?
ट्रैक टू डिप्लोमेसी से मुराद ये है कि जो अनऑफिशियल एफर्ट्स हैं, इट्स अ वाइड रेंज ऑफ sort of efforts, contacts and all that. जो गवर्नमेंट्स ने फाइनली पीस एग्रीमेंट को साइन करना है, इसका कोई सब्स्टिट्यूट नहीं है. पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप ने मानना है, उनका कोई मुतबादिल नहीं है. इंडिया और पाकिस्तान की लीडरशिप ने कश्मीरियों को शामिल करके फाइनल इसका एग्रीमेंट करना है. लेकिन जब उसकी absence में, when there is no political agreement,
no doubt,
what can you do? That's where track to diplomacy comes into effect, and उसका मतलब ये है कि उन supportive processes को initiate किया जाए जो eventually एक official peace process को support कर सकें.
Sir, last 10 seconds. What do you think the Indian government should do now?
The Indian government should remain active to deliver peace between the two. I believe that we are managers of a cemetery, and if we don't have, nobody listens to you, that's the situation we want to change.
Okay. So viewers, you have seen what debate we had today, and I hope you got a little bit of understanding of what the insight is all about, Pakistan-India relationship. I leave you with one message, that in this day and age where we've got driverless cars on the road, why can't these two countries sit down and discuss Kashmir? Because it's not only Pakistan and India, it's the whole South Asian region, more than 2 billion people who are suffering because of this issue. It needs to be resolved. Thank you very much for joining us today. Till next time around, see you again.